Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Super Feeler podcast. My name is Lori, and I am beyond stoked today to be chatting with Shane, who you'll know very well now from our BPD symptom series. So Shane's been, I guess by the time this comes out, most of the symptoms will have come out. So probably like 8 or 9 episodes, you've heard Shane's story kind of through that lens. But today we're going to talk about Shane's experience just like as a human being from start to finish so that you can get to know some of the context that doesn't come up. So Shane, thrilled to have you, as you know. Do you want to talk a little bit about kind of your life, just like start to finish, but how you ended up here today?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And thank you, Laura. I appreciate you having me on the podcast to do a solo episode. I'm really excited about this. I love talking about myself. I don't know if you can
And I love
relate,
learning
but
about you.
yeah. So I guess to start out, I guess a little background. 28-year-old queer trans man, currently living in Northern Virginia. That's where I grew up here. So yeah, I guess we can start with kind of childhood.
Yeah, let's do it.
Parent how my parents were because I think our childhoods have a huge impact on how we live our lives as adults. So I guess to start, my parents weren't married. They did get separated down the line, but I would say that they were pretty strict parents growing up, kind of authoritative.
Mm,
And as I've done more therapy work, I think there's quite a few mental disorders and issues that go
yeah,
in there.
just never kind of brought
Like
up,
I
like never discussed.
Yeah, yeah. My family is not really big on taking care of themselves, especially their mental health.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of the oddball of the family. I'm the outcast of the family who was trying to break that cycle,
Hmm.
right? And I don't remember a lot of my childhood, but from what I do remember, I remember feeling sad and alone a lot of the time.
Are you an only
You
child?
know,
I
I,
can't remember.
yes, I'm
Okay,
technically not an only child now. Um,
but
my
like
dad
growing
got
up.
remarried and had, yeah, but I grew up an only child. So, yeah, and we grew up in this little house out in the wood, in the middle of the woods. We were surrounded by trees. I fell in love with nature as a kid. I did hunting, fishing with my dad a lot, played a lot of sports. It was very active, which
Mm-hmm.
my parents kind of forced me into that, but I really appreciate it now, and I'm so happy that they did. And I'll get into more of that, I guess, later. But yeah, my parents got separated when I was in fifth grade. It was a pretty nasty separation. In fact, I still remember very clearly the day that they separated. I had both my parents crying, my dad in one hand trying to get me to stay with him, and my mom in the other hand,
Mm.
like physically pulling me back and forth, right?
Oh my God.
Um, yeah, it was really traumatic,
That
very
sounds really
traumatic.
traumatic. My parents got divorced at a similar age, and like I remember kind of feeling like I knew it was coming. Did you know it was coming?
I knew that they didn't have a great relationship because I, spent a lot of my time at home listening to them fight and argue. My room was right above the garage where they did all of that, which I think that brings up a good point. Like, my parents, like I just said, they don't deal with their emotions. They don't deal with their mental health at all. So I didn't really have anybody to teach me. They didn't really teach me how to handle these big feelings that I was having, right? I remember so many times just like when they would be fighting and just I don't even know what to call them, but like just the absolute breakdowns of just sobbing and all that stuff, right? But I didn't know it was coming. I still
Yeah.
didn't, you know, I had
I
thought
mean,
that
you're
they were
so
actually
young.
married.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow, you
right.
didn't even realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that they weren't even married until like after they had gotten separated and somebody else explained it to me.
Right.
That I think that answers your question, right?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. So you have this like memory of them physically pulling you to like one side or the other. So what happened next? Like did they have joint custody or did you go with one or the other?
So I went with my mom. I didn't see my dad for quite a long time. And then
Hmm.
when I eventually saw my dad again, he was like, "Hey, by the way, I'm engaged to somebody
Oh,
else."
wow.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, now you have this new family.
Yeah, and in that moment when they were pulling me apart has led to me feeling a lot of grief and guilt of how I deal with my family and the boundaries that I've tried to put up with them.
Hmm.
And then dad getting engaged, I felt completely abandoned.
I bet. And when
Yeah,
was
I mean,
that?
there
Like, how
was,
old were you then?
so I was in middle school. So it was about,
Okay. A
I guess,
couple
like
years later.
13. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't really have a great relation. I had a great relationship in childhood with my dad, but then from that point, our relationship just, that's when we started going completely, I
Hmm.
guess, non-existent, the start of our
Totally.
non-existent relationship now. And, at that point, I started to experiment with drugs, alcohol specifically,
In middle school. So
middle
quite
school.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very young. Yeah. Actually, yeah, the first time I had a drink was on vacation with my dad and my stepmom's family down in
Mm.
Mexico.
And they were like fine with that? Like that was like kind of supported by them?
Yeah, all the kids were doing it. I mean, I was the youngest out of like all the cousins and
Right.
everything. I definitely took it way too far. I
Right.
got
Totally. Yeah.
right.
But you're
So,
also a
I
literal child. So, like, how are you going to know to not do that? Right. You're just being given like
and
yummy drinks in Mexico.
nobody said anything to me.
Yeah. That's
Not
wild.
even my dad. It's totally crazy. And I'm really happy that you like pointed that out because I don't think I've really actually sat with that. The fact that
Mm.
nobody has addressed like this big thing, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so from there, I kind of developed, I guess, this party lifestyle while also being an athlete, which is kind of an
Interesting.
interesting
Okay.
dynamic.
It is. Yeah, for sure. What kind of athletics were you into?
So I played softball
Okay.
and it was well, I thought it was really my goal at the time, and I think it was at points to play in college, but
Mm.
my mom really got behind the idea of me wanting to play in college, which I'm very thankful for because I mean, she put a lot of time and effort into softball, which
Hmm.
I may not have learned a lot from my parents, but I did learn a lot from playing so much travel softball. Like I was
Right.
incredibly humbled in that experience. I learned how to be a leader
You probably had
and
other
learned how to,
safe adults around you, which was probably really needed in your life.
yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
I actually have some of my really good friends I still talk to that I played with,
Hmm.
and they still live right by. So I go and stop and pop on in to their parents'
Awesome.
house and just say hi. And it's a really great feeling to be able to do that.
Totally. Yeah. To feel like loved by another person's family is just, I don't know, it feels different for some reason, for me at least, than feeling loved by my own. I don't know. It's weird.
And yeah, I guess for me it's just like I know my parents love me, but they just show it in the most fucked up way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just like yeah, you're right. It doesn't feel the same.
No, it doesn't. And like, I mean, if our parents are showing us love in a fucked up way, and then you see another family that shows love in a normal way, and you're like, oh my God, wow, what's like, that's weird. I'm not used to that. But it's kind of like a good feeling. I don't know, for me at least. And I have a lot of like kind of secondhand families that I kind of have forced my way into that I'm really happy that are there. But yeah, when you say like your family showed you love in a weird way, or does show you love in a weird way, like what does that mean? Like, what do they do or not do?
I can tell you what they don't do. They don't they don't listen to me. They don't try to understand why I do the things the way I do them. And instead of letting me, I guess, create my own path, I feel like they're always trying to force a certain
Mm.
type of expectation or existence onto me, which I mean, that's not going to work for your trans, like queer kid, like neurodivergent as well.
Yeah, yeah. Neurodivergent, mentally ill, trans kid. I feel like those are all things that you can't force into a box that like parents are going to want. I mean, obviously that's
Yeah.
a generalization. Like, yeah, that sounds like a very confusing and like stressful existence of knowing that stuff is different and then being trying to force you into something else from the sounds of things.
It is incredibly stressful, and it's taken me, I would say, like 28 years to finally get some moments from peace, like moments of
Mm.
peace from it. I'm not in a constant state of peace yet,
Yeah,
but
me neither.
yeah. I mean, who is right now? Like,
Yeah, truly, that would be really weird. The world's not falling apart. What are you talking about? Yeah.
don't even get me started on the state of the world and politics and things
Yeah.
right now, because like,
Yeah. We could be here all day.
yeah, we could be here all day. But yeah, so like that's kind of what our relationship looks like,
Hmm.
or at least like their treatment of me looks like. You want to hear something crazy?
I do always.
So I remember a conversation I had with my mom when I came back on break from college.
Hmm.
And this was during the time when I identified as, I would say, like a stone butch lesbian.
Okay.
So I had a shaved head, I was wearing masculine clothes, and my mom just asked me a question of like, do you want to be a boy?
Mm.
And so we're talking, and this is like 4 years before I actually started transitioning, right?
Yeah.
And due to, I was assaulted in school. So like when I was in my lesbian phase, I was kind of a man-hating lesbian,
Okay.
which is ironic now because I am a man.
Now you are. Yeah, exactly. No kidding. It's
Just
okay.
like
We all come full
confusion.
circle eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, we all come full circle eventually, right? So, I responded to her no, and then she kind of continues on and tells me that her and my dad had conversations when they were together because they didn't speak after
Mm.
they separated, right?
Okay. So
But
like
they
a
had
long time ago,
conversations. Yeah, very long time ago. So we're talking, yeah, long time
like
ago.
15 years at least, right?
Yeah. 15 years she kept from me the fact that both her and my father thought and knew that I wanted to transition into being, you know,
Wow. And
yeah.
okay, I have too many questions all at once. That's fascinating. Were they not telling you that because they didn't want to like give you quote unquote, if you're watching, obviously, I do not think this is how trans people become trans people, but like that they would give you this idea? Is that why they didn't tell you, or they just, it never came up? Like what was the thought pattern behind that?
I haven't put too much speculation into this because the conversation
Hmm.
didn't really go much further than that.
Right.
And I'm still not in the best term. I mean, I don't speak to my dad at all, but like I'm not in the
Yeah.
best terms with my mom. So, I mean, my speculation is I think that they were worried about what other people would think.
Yeah. Is Virginia a pretty conservative place?
I feel like it kind of depends on what part of Virginia you're in. I'm
Okay. But the
close
part
to, I'm
you're
about
in?
an hour. Yeah, I'm about an hour from DC. So we're like right on the outskirts of like conservative territory, I would say.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so it's like not
Yeah.
not necessarily as like black and white as like red state, blue state. There's like some differences of like how you might be perceived in Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. So how did that feel for you when they said that or when your mom said that?
I think initially I was really upset by it, because I was in my man hating phase. I was like,
Right,
how
I guess you didn't know.
dare
Yeah,
you?
you didn't. Yeah, totally. I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, when I think about it, and then when I also think about the fact that like they're not on board with me being trans, I'm kind
Yeah,
of just like, what the fuck? Excuse my language, but like, what
totally.
the fuck?
Yeah. Literally. Yeah. I mean, how do
Doesn't
you
make any
not,
sense.
especially in that context where you've thought this for your whole life? It's kind of bizarre that you would not be supportive because it's like, well, this is clearly who my kid is, regardless of like who they are, what gender they are, right? Like that just seems really more fucked up almost than if it like took them by surprise. Because you can see where if it takes you by surprise, it might take you a minute to like figure
Hmm.
it out and like come to terms or whatever with it. But like I think about my childhood best friend who like always wore men's clothes whenever we went shopping, would always go to the guys section, always got confused for a guy since we were in kindergarten, right? Like
Hmm.
forever. And then when they came out as trans, it was like, oh yeah, duh. Like I hadn't really considered it, but
Yeah.
it made so much sense. It took me zero time to like process it. But yeah, that's the fact. Yeah, that really sucks. I'm sorry that they're not supportive.
I mean, yeah, like, I think you said it perfectly, or whatever you made me say was, it's just completely ass backwards, it feels like.
Yeah,
And
totally.
if that's just how I describe my family, it's just like they put the fun in dysfunction.
I love that. I haven't heard that before. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So
So
have you talked to your dad since you transitioned?
I have. The last time I talked to him over the phone, or yeah, the last time I talked to him over the phone was December of 2023.
Okay. So like 2.5 years ago? No, a year and a half ago?
Yeah,
A
maybe it
year
was
and a half.
22.
Okay, so it's like
22.
2.5 years. Yeah, okay. And
Yeah, the
what?
last.
And he wasn't supportive? Because when did you transition? How many years ago? 4 years, you said? Is that right?
So I started transitioning. So I started medically transitioning in 2020, actually January 6th of 2020. So
Oh, what
crazy
else
date.
happened that day? Oh
I know.
my God, that's wild. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, maybe not funny. Maybe that's not the right word. Fascinating. January 6th, 2020. Yeah, what a day. Okay, now I can just look at it with your transition in mind instead of everything else that happened that
Right,
day.
right.
So, yeah, so this was obviously you were already medically transitioning. So, like, did you talk about it? Like, did it come up? Or what
Yeah,
was that conversation
so
like?
oof. So I mean, I had come out to him before that point,
Okay.
but I still remember like holding a lot of anger towards him just because again, like my family just does not show me any support in the way that I need.
Yeah.
So, I felt like it was lip service what he was giving me,
Mm-hmm.
of like, oh, we love you, we accept you for who you are, right? But when it came to the conversation of, okay, well, I don't want my little brothers to call me their sister anymore. Like,
Mm,
if you look at me, like that doesn't fit, right?
no.
And I just felt like I got pushback or really nothing at all to like no motivation to have that kind
Right.
of conversation.
Interesting.
And
And that's like such a simple ask, or it should
I
be,
would say so.
especially for kids, right? If somebody's like 97 and you're like, yeah, okay, I understand where this might be confusing for you, but like if you're a child, like it should be pretty easy to just be like, hey, call me something different. People are so strange.
Yeah, people are strange. And so this last conversation though that I had with my dad, mind you, I was living in Portland. My dad's a bit of a narcissist. I've kind of realized this as well. I'll say he has narcissistic tendencies. He hasn't been diagnosed.
Yeah,
Like I don't want to throw that word out there, because I think it gets
totally.
used a lot.
Yeah, agreed.
But, I got so angry with him because he had just moved into a new house. All he was talking about was how, my little brothers were doing so great. He was doing so great. All of his friends are cops. They all smoke weed together, like blah 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 blah. All this like not relevant information. And mind you, I'm like about to lose my housing in Portland.
Mm,
I'm can't really I was going to food pantries.
yeah,
I kind of just blew up at him and I was like, dude, I don't want to hear about all this. Like, you haven't once asked me how
yeah.
I'm
How
doing
you
or like
are.
what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the last time that we talked over the phone. I think I've gotten like a happy birthday text from him once or twice, but I just haven't
Yeah, it's
haven't
not
reached
an
out to him.
actual relationship. Yeah, fair. That's super fair. And you live with your grandma now, right? So how did that
My grandma
that's
on
your
my mom's
mom's
side.
mom? Yeah, okay. That's your mom's mom. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, because I think you've talked about that a little bit before in like other episodes. And that is an interesting dynamic in itself too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't have to get into it if you don't want to.
No, I will say like it is a little sensitive right now because I've had to put up some like pretty harsh boundaries. We're actually about
Mm-hmm.
to hopefully start some family therapy here. Her and
Oh
I
wow, cool.
going to sessions.
Cool. Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, cool, but also terrifying.
Yes, yeah, very terrifying because like I just don't know how I'm hoping that having a third party, I'm hoping that she will be able to listen to them.
Mm-hmm. How old is she?
Ooh, so she was born in 49, so she's going to be 76 October 2nd.
Okay. 76. Okay, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. That'll be super interesting for her. Has she gone to counseling before? I guess we shouldn't talk about her own mental health history. But either way, I'm very curious to know how that goes. And your mom is kind of in the picture, but like not really. Is that right? Like she kind of shows up every once in a while because you live with her mom.
Yes, yeah. I did actually have lunch with my mom the other day,
Hmm.
which was interesting because the past couple of weeks she's been ghosting me a little bit, which I think I've mentioned on the podcast before that
Hmm.
maybe not. But
I
yeah,
can't remember, but
it's very hit or miss with her, It depends on what mood you catch her in. I think my BPD kind of comes from her side of the family.
yeah.
So the
And
genetic
you're
component
her
at
only
least.
kid, right? Like, you're
Correct.
her only
Yeah.
kid? Yeah. Okay. Is she remarried or anything?
Um, I giggle a little bit because I think that she got remarried,
Okay.
but like it was
But
kind
you
of
don't even
an
know.
eloping situation. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So is she like supportive? Like, does she call you by the right name and the right gender and the like all of that? Or is she also a bit kind of strange about it?
I can tell you that she misgenders me. In
Hmm.
fact, she did it at lunch to the waitress, like on Monday when
Oh,
we had
like
lunch
she'll
together.
have whatever or whatever.
Yeah.
And does she like correct
Which,
herself?
nope.
Okay. Because I mean, I feel like you tell me, obviously, I'm like a cis woman, but I think that like obviously sometimes we make mistakes, but like you got to correct yourself, right? Like if I say the wrong thing, I'll be like, oh, actually, sorry, I mean, like my bad. But if you're not correcting yourself, then like is she even catching it, or like, or she doesn't care to correct herself? Would be like how I looked at it. If that makes sense.
I think it's the latter there. Like, I don't think she cares to correct herself.
Right. Okay.
But you're exactly right. In that situation, like if I happen to misgender somebody, it's a quick, hey, I'm sorry, and then
Yeah.
continue using the correct pronoun, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to bring too much attention to it. Like, it doesn't need to be this whole grand big
No,
thing,
totally.
you know?
Yeah, but at least it needs an acknowledgement of like, oh my bad, and then like there's a lot of non-binary people where I work, and like it happens. You call them the wrong thing by accident, and then you just correct it. Like it literally happens all the time, and like I don't think that it's a big deal for them or the person correcting it to just be like, sorry, I mean they. It's not,
Hmm.
it's not that hard. I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
for some people it's really hard, I guess, but it just as a parent, I would hope that like people would be the ones correcting others as opposed to being the ones who need to be corrected, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that does. Oof. That kind of just got me thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like early transition me. So I would say before I started quote unquote passing,
Yeah.
that would have been really disruptive. Like I would have been probably a wreck after that lunch.
Right.
Now I kind of look at it and I'm just like, well, you're kind of making yourself look dumb
Totally.
because of how I look
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you're
currently. So
clearly a
like,
guy. There's no question.
I mean, I don't want to listen. I'm not going to sit here and call my mom dumb because she's
Right.
actually very smart, right? But
Yeah.
I just don't know what other word to use in that situation, in that
Yeah, like it's
sentence.
like it's like kind of a lack of like thoughtfulness almost is kind of
Hmm.
like how it comes across. Like unless it's done maliciously, which I don't think it from the sounds of what you're saying, like it doesn't necessarily sound malicious. It's just like lack of attention to detail. I don't know. It's kind of it's interesting. And I do think there's a generational component to it. I really do. It's just you got to try. It's the hard part.
Yeah, and I think she's fighting the trying part. Like, I remember something that my grandma said to me one of the first times I saw her since I moved back in with my grandma.
Hmm.
She didn't speak to me at all. She actually barely even looked at me.
Your mom or your grandma?
My mom.
Okay.
So, yeah, my mom comes over to have dinner, or I can't even remember what we were doing, but she comes over and is specifically ignoring. I mean, she's straight up ignoring me.
Yeah.
No eye contact, no, hey, how are you? Even like, so I think that she's fighting the trying part because she has so much unresolved still with my dad, and I look a lot like my dad, right?
Okay. Yeah. So it's almost like triggering to
And
her.
I think it is really triggering to her, actually. There also is the
Interesting.
bit like when I first came out to this is, man, I'm gonna really drag her through the mud here, but she printed out a whole manila folder full of articles, basically from
Hmm.
this one doctor. And yeah, so all of these articles were basically saying how trans people are more mentally ill, they have more health issues, like basically that my life is going to be shit if I start transitioning. Right.
The twistingness of that one doesn't cause the other is wild. Or maybe it's because they're systemically discriminated against or prone to mental illness and they have been hiding who they are their entire life and that also causes mental illness. Like that's I know you're saying your mom's not dumb, but that's like a really dumb take. And like to print all that out is awful.
To print it out and to give it to your child, like I think it's,
Yeah, to try and like what talk them
yeah,
out of it, I
it's,
guess.
yeah, to try and she still, I think, wants me to like not go through with it. And I'm like, it's been 5 years and you haven't gotten on board yet? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, I'm so
crazy. It's
sorry.
crazy to me.
That is. Yeah, that's really crazy. And like, how do you have a relationship with someone who like just doesn't support who you fundamentally are as a person at this point?
Mhm. And honestly, I'm trying to figure that out,
Mm-hmm.
because I think there is kind of a guilt piece to this. I have such a small family on my mom's side. It's literally just me, my mom, and my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma doesn't have any siblings. My mom doesn't have any siblings.
Right.
And so I kind of feel this need that like I like need to stick around.
Right. And like take care of her.
Yeah.
And you're taking care of your
Especially like
grandma a lot.
yeah. Which taken care of, I feel like I go on the fence. Like I'm kind of on the fence about that.
Okay.
She can, she's pretty mobile. So is her eyesight, so is her hearing. So
Mm-hmm.
like and she doesn't leave the house much anyways. So I feel like there isn't a whole lot of care that goes into it.
Right.
I'm
But you're
not
still
very
like there
hands-on.
to
Like,
support her, right? Like if something were to happen, you would still be the first one there.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course.
And is
Yeah,
she
it's been
supportive? Or like is she like does she call you the right name and the right gender and stuff?
she's the most supportive actually out of everybody.
Aw.
And yeah, it's to the extent of like she does use the correct pronouns and she calls me her grandson, which feels so good. It feels so good.
That does like and like goes to show that the generational thing is kind of a bullshit excuse, right?
Right.
Because if she can get it and she knows that you're her grandson and loves you no matter what, then why can't they?
Yeah, I have, it's only speculation what I think my mom is like hung up on, but
Yeah, no,
still,
but
it
it
doesn't
makes
matter
sense.
what the hang up is. Yeah.
Totally. No, it makes sense. I mean, have I told you my experience? My dad. So my dad was like very anti mental illness forever. Like, don't take meds. You'll get over it. Blah 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 blah. Forever. Obviously, he's changed his mind a lot. When we've had conversations about it, he says the reason that I've been like that is because your mom was saying that you were crazy, and you're so much like me that I thought she was calling me crazy. And so, like, parents can twist shit like in their head so much. So the fact that you look like your dad and your mom has a hard time with like you totally makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still
Yeah.
sucks, but it makes sense.
Wow, but that's really interesting, like, yeah, about your dad and like,
Yeah. It makes sense though if you think about it, right? Like and the fact that he's able to articulate that is kind of wild.
yeah, self-awareness king.
Totally, right? Finally, it took a long ass time. So you talked about like drinking when you were like a kid, 12, 13,
Mhm.
whatever. And then you started using other substances. How did that kind of transition happen? And then when did the mental illness component kind of kick into full gear?
Yeah, so yeah, to pick up where we kind of left off, I was doing a lot of hard stuff, I would say, in high school.
Hmm.
Mostly pills. I did ecstasy, a little bit of cocaine, some hallucinogens, and
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 still
I'll
doing
remind you,
sports competitively through all of this.
yeah, in travel sports. So like I was going all up and down the East Coast. So like how I did it,
Crazy.
no
Who
clue.
knows? And they didn't
Yeah,
drug
who
test or
knows?
anything in high school
No, they
sports?
did
I
not
guess
drug
just
test.
university sports. Right.
Just university
So,
sports. Yeah.
right. So you were kind of good to go.
Yeah, it was good to go. And then so my junior year, your junior year is kind of like if you want to go play collegiately, like that's really where things kind of start to crack down.
Hmm.
I had
Sorry,
this
junior is what
really
year again? Is that grade 11?
11th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, grade
Sorry.
11. Yeah. Nice
One
job.
day I'll figure it out. I should really just have a poster on the wall there that says like junior grade 11, senior grade 12. Like, because I just will never get it. Anyways.
Maybe I'll make you one or something.
Yes,
Laminate it,
please. I
send it
should.
to
I
you.
literally just like need something on my wall because I can never get it. Anyways, but that means none of the other Canadians listening get it either. So I may as well ask every time. Okay, so grade
Yeah, of
11,
course.
you have to decide whether or not you're kind of going to continue with sports or if you're going to kind of finish in grade 12.
Yeah, and I had this really amazing assistant high school coach who I actually have a matching tattoo with, by the way. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, she kind of sat me down and we had this conversation of, I know it's your goal to play in college, but you really have to get your shit together. So,
Right, because she knew you were using and stuff, or she just
oh
knew
yeah,
shit wasn't going. Okay, yeah.
she knew hardcore. Yeah, I would go into her room sometimes, like just totally conked out on
Mm-hmm.
whatever I was on that morning. So, like, really amazing human. And she was like, I'm going to help you get to college and play, but you got to be sober. So, I quit everything cold turkey, went sober for my senior year, had an amazing year playing. I got into a small private liberal arts college down in Florida, and going there, my drug use started again, for sure.
Like big party town in Florida, you're at university, you're doing whatever kind of thing. Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
And
And
especially too, like
you're away from home and yeah.
yeah, I definitely wanted to get out of state. Like, I thought that I was, I really thought that I choosing to go to college out of state, I thought I was running away from the busyness of Northern Virginia and just kind
Okay.
of what I felt was like a very negative energy. And
Mm-hmm.
in actuality, it was my family that I was running away from.
Right. Yep.
All of that negativity and things, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Because you
So,
lived with your mom at that point, right?
yes, I lived with my mom at
Okay.
that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, freshman year, I get down there. It was really important for me to go Division two because I kind of thought that I would still be able to experience college, like as
Mm-hmm.
a non-athlete. That was really important to me, right? So I did delve into all the partying and things. Ended up quitting before the end of my freshman year, quitting playing softball, at least. And I also, around that time, got out of my first relationship. And I feel like that's when I started to notice that I didn't necessarily handle things and stressors in the ways that other people
Right.
do.
Yeah.
I guess particularly breakups because like I was like pining over my ex, and I guess to get out of that I found myself in another relationship, and it was actually really toxic, right? We were both kind of toxic for each other. Yeah, and I guess I'll try to like shorten up my answer to your question. I feel like this is long-winded, but
No, that's
it's
okay.
kind of
It's
how I
all
am.
interesting. And honestly, it's how so many stories about like BPD start is a breakup happens and you realize you're not handling it in the way that you think that that the other people do and you're like, "Oh shit, something's wrong."
Mm, right. I guess yeah, and then it's important to mention too. So that freshman year relationship, she really motivated me to work on my mental health.
Mm.
And so started seeing a psychiatrist. That's when I got diagnosed officially with ADHD. But they also gave me a bipolar 2 diagnosis at this time.
Ah, interesting. Okay, yep. Yet another common story of BPD people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, that's kind of how, and I was really bad about taking my medications at this time. And they were throwing all sorts of antidepressants and all this other medication at me that just
Mm-hmm.
ultimately like wasn't working. You know,
Yeah.
I end up dating, like get into a new relationship, right? Beginning of my sophomore year, we're on and off. Graduate college, I move out to Oregon with her, which
Mm-hmm.
I
Bad call.
knew like in my gut was a bad call. And I actually voiced it to several people. Like I remember voicing it to several people before leaving. I'm like, I don't know about this, but I was just so
Interesting.
terrified. I was so
Yeah.
terrified to move across the country, and
And were
start
you
graduate
moving there
school.
for like a specific reason? Is that why you were moving there? Or was it just like to
Yeah.
get out of Virginia? Oh, okay. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, again, I was kind of that junior year and I was like, wow, I like don't have a career set up, didn't do any internships,
What were you
like
studying?
math,
Oh, shit.
like
Cool.
straight up math. Yeah.
Wow.
Applied math mostly,
Cool.
right?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like I just don't think I was really ready for college. Like I wish I
Yeah.
had taken a gap year now that I realize it because like
Mm-hmm.
I just did math just because I was good at math, but like I had
Like game plan for what you're gonna do with
no
that.
game
Yeah.
plan. No game plan, right? I think like many people with BPD, I mean, I didn't see a future for myself. I didn't think I'd make it past the age of 21.
Yeah, so what's the
Oh,
point? Yeah, who cares?
right. Like, so
You
what's
don't
the
need a game
point?
plan. Yeah, exactly. Just
Right.
do what you're good
Exactly.
at because then it's easy and then yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was kind of terrified to not have a job lined up. And I knew if I didn't have a job lined up, like I was so terrified of my mom and what she would think of
Mm-hmm.
me. Like, so, so terrified. So I was like, well, I guess I'll apply to graduate school. Why not? I like school. Why not do more school?
Totally. And that was like
So,
right out of your undergrad, you were moving to go to grad school. Like there was
mhm,
no like gap even in between that. So you went from high
nope.
school. Yeah, okay. That's
Yeah, so yeah, high school, I graduate, what is it, May of 2015, and then
Yeah.
sorry, May of 2019. And then literally September of 2019, I'm supposed to start this PhD electrical engineering program.
Holy shit. Okay. I didn't know any of this. This is fascinating. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and also mind you, at like a top five engineering school.
Jesus. Okay. And moving across the country for it with a person that isn't good for you.
Yes, yes.
Jeez. Okay. Woo.
So, right, yeah. It was a lot, and it's crazy because at the time of it, I thought nothing of it. Like I thought nothing of it. But so we get out to Oregon. I was smoking a lot of weed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have
Oregon's a good place for
insurance set
that.
up. Oh, Oregon's a great place for that.
Yeah.
Totally. I didn't have, any doctors set up. Um, didn't have any ADHD medication. Was trying to get like
Mm-hmm.
that through the school. Was just like really struggling and in the graduate school setting specifically, and then also had the discovery that I was trans from a
Oh my God.
conversation.
I didn't even realize that that wasn't like part. Yeah, that hadn't even happened yet.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
I was still a lesbian at this point, so
Oh my God.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, the amount of stressors. I can't even deal. Okay. Okay. So you realize you're trans and you're
Hmm.
still with your partner. So then you have to navigate that situation, which I can't imagine is easy to do because now you're transitioning to a man and they're into women, presumably.
Hmm.
Oh my God.
She was actually really on board with it. Like she was
Okay.
really excited for
Cool.
me.
Cool. Because I feel like that must go the
However,
other way around sometimes, where it becomes a
it
huge issue.
does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely, it does. I was very thankful that that wasn't the case in this situation. However, through all the stressors and everything that we just talked about, I was like,
Yeah.
I've had it with this relationship. So I broke up with her, I think 2 months in to us living together in Oregon.
Crazy. And you were 2 months into school? Like, did you move there right before school started?
Yeah. Moved there right before school started. I basically had like a week to hang out and like get to know the
Yeah.
area, and then I started school.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. So it was a really rough breakup.
That would be.
But
Because you're both
I
like by
just felt
yourselves.
yes, yeah. I just felt so suffocated and out of control in that relationship
Mm-hmm.
that with everything else going on, I was just like, we got to change something. And I guess this is
Yeah.
it.
And what was her game plan in Oregon? Was she also going to school?
No, so she was struggling she was going to work.
Mm.
She was an art major. And I don't know if this was really a joke or if she was really serious about this, but I think she was really set on being a trophy wife.
I mean, hey, sometimes I feel that way too. I'm doing it
Hey,
really
I'm like,
badly. I'm
don't
literally
like, I
doing that
don't,
horribly. Yeah. But
I like,
there was no like motivation to be an active contributor to like the finances.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And also wouldn't have worked out because like at the time, like I wasn't interested in marriage. I didn't think that marriage was something for me, right? And I didn't want to be the sole breadwinner. Like that just,
Totally. Yeah, like I
yeah,
make that joke. I make that joke of like I like that's one of my goals too. But at the same time, like I'm the primary breadwinner of my household, and that's not going to change, right? Like I mean, I make that joke. Meanwhile, Aaron knows full well that that's not actually
yeah,
what my dream is. Like it's just
right.
it does sound nice on occasion though. Maybe like a 3 months of the year, kind of be a trophy wife or something. But, I'm too snappy to be a trophy wife. Also, I feel like that would.
I feel like there's people out there that like I don't know genuinely want it, and like I'm saying, I don't knock it. Like if that's
Yeah,
what you
no,
want,
totally.
but like you got to find the right person to make that work. you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So okay. So you break up, and then like you just move home, or like what's the situation? Like, do you keep doing school and live together, but you're broken up?
Yeah. So around this time that we broke up, like I was kind of in the process of putting off school. I can't remember the term for it, but
Like
basically where
deferring?
you kind of stop. Yeah, deferring. Thank you. So I was trying to get that worked out, and she actually lived with me until January of the following year, so January of
Wow.
2020. Because I didn't want to kick her out. I was like, listen, we just moved here. Like, I'm sure it's going to take some time for you to figure out
Yeah.
if you want to stay, if you're going home. So yeah. So I let her stay, I was like, stay, I guess, kind of as long as you need to. I'll
Hmm.
just sleep on the couch. So I slept on the couch for months. And once I got back from Christmas, the Christmas when I came out to my mom
Right.
as a trans person,
Yeah.
and it didn't go, it went so swell. I get my hair cut at this very queer salon in town. And that's how I meet my next partner. Yeah. So, yeah, created a rocky dynamic before they moved out because I was, staying with this other person the whole time, right?
Yep.
And then like she moves out and pretty much pandemic happens.
I was gonna say,
And
I literally, when you said January 2020, I was like, oh my God, we're not even, like, the pandemic hasn't even happened yet to add another stressor to your life. Okay. Jesus.
to add another stressor to my life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and at this point, like I had deferred off school until the next fall, so I wasn't in school at this point. Quarantine happens, me and my partner, we decide that we're going to be monogamous. We quarantine all together, right? It's funny that you say that. I was stressed during the pandemic, but I also really missed that time.
Me too. Honestly, me
You know,
too. There was a lot of positives about that time. Yeah.
mhm.
And as a new relationship, like, if you, like, you kind of got to spend all of your time with that one person, which kind of probably felt great.
It felt so good. Do I think it was the best for the relationship? No,
Yeah.
because we're not
Totally.
together,
Yeah.
right?
But for your BPD, which you didn't know you had yet, would have been great to just, like, be constantly with the person that you're in a relationship with and not ever have to worry about what's going on outside of that little bubble.
Yeah, it was really great. I fell in love with this person.
Hmm.
There's somebody that's going to be in my life for the rest of my life. And they're also the first person that said that they would be in my life forever and has like genuinely stuck to it,
Mm,
which is so healing for my BPD, I would say, you know,
yeah.
but didn't last forever. I got top surgery that year in 2020, which I was very thankful for. It happened so fast.
Yeah, that's really
Great
fast. That was in
surgeon, great
Oregon as well?
experience. That was in Oregon as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was actually so top surgery, I had a relapse. I was abusing my surgery pills, and that's
I
what
was gonna
led us to
say,
break
yeah.
up. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy part about substance use, right? Is, like, sometimes you do need to take stuff in, like, contexts that it's not like you went there trying to use. Obviously, it's like a necessary surgery, but, like, you're given these drugs and they're just sitting there. Oh my God, that's awful. Okay.
They were
So
just
that's why
sitting
you
there,
broke
and
up?
yeah, that post surgery depression hit really hard. And they have had some relationship history with like trauma around substance use. So that was a hard line for them.
Mm,
It didn't help that and like we de-escalated the relationship at that point. So like we weren't fully
okay.
broken up, but we were like, we need to kind of, I guess, take a step back and take some space.
Hmm.
My feeble like BPD mind could not handle that taking of space. So I pop off and post something on social media and they see it. And that's actually what led to our breakup.
What did you post?
So I was dating a non-binary individual. They were
Mm,
non-binary at the time, and to be quite honest with you, I'm into femmes. I'm straight, really,
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
really straight. And so I made a comment of how do I want to put this? Made a comment of let's say like a femme individual doing something for me
Okay.
in a sexual way. Does that make sense? I'm
Okay.
trying not to
Yep.
be so like crude about it, but like
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how else to say it.
Okay.
um, and they saw that post, and I now realize that like I mean, a harmful thing to post, no matter what, I would say.
Hmm.
But for them in particular, very hard for them to take because they said this to me after our breakup, but they realized that watching me go through my early transition,
Hmm.
that they wanted to like start to
Oh,
transition as
interesting.
well. So
Interesting.
you can
Okay.
see how that comment on social
Yes,
media is
totally.
just
Would have
hits a
been
little
like
harder.
extra triggering for them, but you didn't know.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
So, man, and that breakup, downward spiral,
Hmm.
very downward spiral. And this is when I start to have the conversation, or my therapist starts to have the conversation with me about having BPD.
Okay. And had you heard of it
And
before?
I think I'd heard of it before, but didn't really think anything
Right. You
of
didn't know what
it,
it was. Yeah.
had no idea about it. Then till I started doing my own research and I found your old podcast
Hmm.
and
Yay.
I just
I'm very
related.
happy because I've, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I
then
know.
you,
Oh my,
that brought me into your life and vice versa. And I can't imagine it the other way
yeah,
around. Yeah.
yeah, very thankful for that. And because literally all it was is just like a BPD Spotify podcast search,
Yeah. Totally.
you know, and I just related to so much in that podcast,
Hmm.
just so much. And I was like, yeah, like I think to my therapist, I was like, yeah, I think you're right. Like, I
Yeah.
think this is BPD, you know?
Sometimes you need to like hear the stories of other people to really like feel like it's real. Whereas when you just read the symptoms, sometimes you're like, well, is that really a thing? Like, probably not.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm so glad that you found us.
Yeah, me too. And I guess where does that leave us? So that was around 2021. Still heavy substance use during this time. Like I was doing a lot of cocaine.
So you kind of like what after the top surgery, you just kind of kept using through the breakup and
Yeah, I
everything.
just kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, through the breakup, like, I realize now, like, the only way that I knew how to meet people was at a bar, right?
Right. Yep. That's not the
You
best
know,
place to be. Yeah.
not the best place to be, not the best place to like look for support after a breakup.
Yeah.
But not
Well, and
only
even
did
like
it lead
online
to,
dating too. Like so much of the time it's like, "Oh, let's go for a drink." Like so much of online dating is
Mhm.
that. So, yeah, it's just kind of inevitable.
Yeah, yeah, which is why I always like to go for a coffee these days. Like if I'm going on a date, like coffee is always the first date.
Yeah, totally. I always use that as like not that I'm dating cuz Aaron probably wouldn't be stoked about that. But like if I'm like meeting someone, I always am like, "Oh, let's go get coffee." Because like then they
Yeah,
don't have to awkwardly say like, "Oh, I don't drink," or like whatever, and I don't drink either, so it doesn't matter to me, but it just I feel like it's like a lower barrier for people, which I like.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, so substance use continued to get worse from there. The worst that it had been probably since I would say college.
Mhm.
And this is also I discovered about, I guess, like impulsive, unhealthy sex for myself.
Okay. Yeah.
Started to use that as a coping skill or mechanism. I don't
Mhm.
want to call it a skill, coping
Yeah,
mechanism.
yeah, yeah. Fair. Fair.
Like, don't want to call it a skill.
Yeah. Big fan though, but yeah, no, not a great mechanism for sure. Works like a charm to make you feel better in the moment a lot of the time, but it's not good.
Oh, in the moment, honestly, I would kind of compare it to it's like the high of like getting high on cocaine. It's awesome, like right there in the moment, but literally 30 minutes later, you're like, what did I just do? Right?
Once the deed is done and you've gotten the towel and you're going, oh God, what have I just done? That's
Yeah.
usually the end of that good feeling.
Yeah. Uh, then, what's crazy though is I was doing all of that while I was a personal trainer.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so you can kind of live this like double life of health and substance use pretty easily, seemingly.
Yeah. I find it like interesting the way that you put that, but I mean like you're honest, like yeah, you're exactly right. Like it's it's kind of easy, I guess, for me to live that double life. And I think it's the ways that I isolate.
Hmm. Yeah.
I seem to be really good at isolating.
Like isolating or compartmentalizing? Like isolating from other people
Mm,
or just separating two different worlds that you're living in at the same time?
I guess separating that two different worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Yeah, going through that experience like over the past like couple years, because I'm still pretty fresh out of it. Moving back home has really provided a lot of stability for me, allowed me to kind of get things back on track. Because even when I was coming to super feelers, like at
Hmm.
that time when I first got into super feelers, like I was a hot mess. I was
I
a
don't
hot
even
mess. I
remember
mean, I
you
was like,
being a hot mess. That's funny.
well, but I think that speaks to the compartmentalization that I'm like able to do in the ways
Right.
that I'm like able to mask.
Yeah, which is funny because I feel like I mean, my hope is that that's a group where you don't really have to, but I mean, we all do it anyways, right?
Yeah, I was definitely doing it then. Like, I mean, I was, yeah. I mean, it's crazy to think that I was in this nice ass studio apartment. I would literally go downstairs to go work in this gym, go to the bathroom beforehand, rail a line, go
Yeah,
train.
that is wild. Yeah, that's honestly
Wild.
wild. Yeah.
So,
Thank God your heart didn't kick it because that
oh
cannot be
my
good for your
God,
heart.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely not. But I don't think I've fully like processed like that time in my life yet. Like, I haven't been out of it like
Hmm.
long enough. But yeah, I think it created a lot of internal conflict. Like I acted outside of
Hmm.
my values,
All the time.
yeah, pretty much
Sounds like.
all of the time. Yes,
Yeah.
all the time.
Hmm.
So I'm still kind of sitting with that,
Fair.
working on that in therapy.
Yeah. And that's, again, like, I can't stress enough how many stressors you were going through at the same time, right? Like, even if the transition itself isn't a stressor, the surgery is a stressor physically and mentally, like regardless, right? And then you've got the pandemic, you've got the breakup, you've got the school, you've got your mom not being supportive. I don't even know. There's more, but that's plenty for one human being to have to deal with at once. And so did you end up you ended up back in Virginia, right? So was that like you were like, I can't keep living this life and you moved back? Or was it your mom asking you to move back for your grandma? Or like what was the situation there?
Yeah, so like when I was in Portland in like 2022 to 2023, I was in the process of trying to get a hysterectomy,
Hmm.
lost my personal training job, obviously.
Right. Fair.
I
Yeah.
feel like
I
it's
was like,
kind of obvious,
why?
you know.
But yeah, okay. Yeah.
Thankfully, like I didn't lose my job because, they caught me like doing drugs or anything like that, or like
Yeah, yeah.
being, it was because like I just couldn't show up for work. This was the first time that I had a couple episodes like depersonalization episodes.
Mm,
So my mental health was really bad in the middle of all this use, right?
yeah,
Makes sense, you
totally.
know. Lots of paranoia. Mental health was really, really bad. So I lost my personal training job, got the hysterectomy, but I was moving out of my Portland apartment, didn't have any plans, and I ended up moving in with my friend Jade
Okay.
in Corvallis. So I'm still in Oregon at this point. Kind of couch surfing, staying with people where I can, trying to find a job that I can hold down and maintain. Really seriously, like started taking my medications, you know,
Nice.
was getting prescribed now Adderall at this point, so that helped me stop the cocaine use.
Well, I was going to say you're using stimulants, right? Which is probably you just self-medicating your ADHD and just like maybe taking it a little too far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because before this point, like, so I'm very honest and open with my doctors about like my history of use, which sometimes
Hmm.
I'm like, why am I? Because,
Totally. Just makes it worse sometimes, but yeah.
right, yeah, the psychiatrist that I was seeing, like, in Corvallis up into that Portland point, like, she would not prescribe me stimulant medication because I
Right.
had been honest about my
Right.
use and things. So yeah, I mean, I did a couple years of like bouncing around jobs and bouncing around couches. And I was like, kind of bounced around enough couches. I kind of have nowhere else to go. It's my car or I
Yeah.
guess home. And so I had to suck it up and ask my grandma if I could come stay with her.
Hmm.
Uh,
And she was okay with it, obviously.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, she was okay with it. We didn't talk about a timeline of how long I would be here. Still not sure how long I'm going to be here, but
Hmm.
I get worried because I think I'm at a point now where like us living together because I'm so different. And
Right.
again, there's this kind of narrative trying to be forced upon me of, oh, I need to be doing this and living this certain way. It's created a lot of conflict and like strain on the relationship, which is
Mm.
hopefully therapy will help.
Yeah, totally. Because how
Yeah.
long's it been that you've lived there?
I have been here, I guess, about a year and a half now.
Okay. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
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 And are you still planning on going back to school? Because you said you deferred your like admission.
Oh my God. Yeah. We never even revisited that. So no, so I
No.
totally dropped out. Totally dropped
Okay,
out.
cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally dropped out.
And like, are you good with that decision? Or like, is that just obviously at the time it wasn't the right thing to like be going back to school, but like, is that kind of off the table now?
I would eventually like to go back to school. I don't know if I would go back for electrical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to, a lot of the work that I'm doing currently in therapy is we're working on a lot of identity stuff because I have
Yeah.
such a shifting idea from moving around, so many different friends, people that I've called family. It's felt like
Mm-hmm.
a rotating door essentially. So I'm really trying to put that energy into myself and create a stable identity and figure out what I really want from this world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, at the center of it, I want it to be really queer.
Mm.
I want to surround
Yeah,
myself by queer
I feel
people.
like I don't get electrical PhD in electrical engineering to be the most like queer space I've ever heard.
Oh my God, I did not fit in with those nerds. Not to
Yeah.
call them nerds, they're awesome, but really did not
Yeah.
fit in with them.
Very, very different types of people would be my guess as a general
Yeah,
statement.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm just like trying to figure out what I'm passionate about, what I like to do, and I really want to feel like I'm contributing something positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's like just a huge and being around queers like really fills me up. So
Yeah.
I think, right now what I have on the table, I eventually would maybe like to open up my own gay bar.
That'd be so cool. Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
so cool. Would that be
Yeah.
like triggering for like substance use? Or would that be fine?
Um, yeah, let's talk about that substance use aspect of it because, I'm not completely sober right now.
Mm-hmm.
I do smoke weed. I do still drink.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't
And
do anything else
I don't
though.
think you have to be I don't like I'm not like a you have to be so 100% sober if that's not an issue, right? Like if you have no issue with weed and you like doing weed, smoking weed, you can tell
Hmm.
I don't smoke weed anymore.
Yeah.
Then like whatever, right?
Doing weed. Yeah.
Doing weed, I sound like a fucking ancient person. But yeah, like I mean, you just if you're not using the things that are causing problems and whatever, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that like I kind of got to a point, at least like with those two substances, where I'm like, I'm not getting anything out of this when I do this in excess. So like
Yeah.
I'm just gonna not.
Hmm.
I did have the conversation with my girlfriend today about how, sometimes if I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go out and I am gonna have just one drink, like there
Hmm.
is kind of an urge, there's a craving to have more, and it's
Right.
conscious effort, right? To like not have more. But I think to answer your question, I think because it would be my own, for lack of a better word, baby,
Hmm.
I would have, there's too much at stake for me, you know,
Right.
for me to sacrifice, like, or, to justify, like, abusing substances again. So,
Totally. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And like you can have really great mocktails on the menu. You should, because when I come, I want a really cute mocktail.
yeah.
Um, and like to create that like really supportive queer space is something that you already kind of dabble in already, right? Like you were doing this skateboarding group. Like, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, in order, or I guess to help me kind of figure out my identity and like while I'm here in this small ass Virginia town,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I haven't found the queer community that I want, so I have been trying to create it. I
Mm-hmm.
am hosting a skate night once a month, and actually, I just put down the payment to start. I'm gonna start my own queer peer support group here.
Yay!
Yeah,
Amazing.
so
Okay, well,
and
can I
then
put the links for that in the notes in the show notes? If you want, if not, that's okay.
yeah, we can do that. Actually, I've just been so all the flyers just have a QR code to my Instagram and just say like DM me for more
Perfect.
details.
Sweet.
So
Yeah.
you
Okay,
can
we
just
can do
like
that.
direct people to my Instagram. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Great. That's awesome. Oh, I'm so excited for you. I love peer support, as you know.
Yeah. Me too. And really like it's been Like I've been inspired by super feelers
Mm,
actually a lot. Like I really like how the group is run, and I just have such a blast. And I just have kind of like I don't want to say modified it, but have broken down the group kind of similarly, like
hmm.
to super feelers.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Cool.
so
Well,
thank you, Lori.
if there's anything I can, yeah, no, of course. If there's anything I can help you with, like in terms of I can send you like PowerPoints or I have like a little training manual thing that I created, like anything that you need to, yeah, help you set it up or whatever, just let me know because that's really exciting. And it's going to be in person,
I
yours,
will.
right?
Yes, it's going to be in person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is awesome. Like I love that. I wish I could do super feelers in person, but obviously that wouldn't work with where
yeah,
everybody is. Um,
right.
and like the skate nights are so cool, and like I just love that you're building the community that you need, and that's what inspires you.
Yeah, thank you. To be honest with you, it feels really amazing, and like I said, I think at the beginning of the podcast, like I'm able to find moments of peace in my life that
Mm-hmm.
I have never felt before. Like
Totally.
never felt
Yeah.
before. So
And you're doing DBT, but you're just starting it. Is that right?
yeah, I thought our goal was really going to be DBT,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that we're kind of pulling from other therapy modalities right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think
I
that's kind
think,
of always how it goes. There's always like a little bit of everything at the beginning for sure.
yeah. And I think that, and I've been doing therapy since October of 2019 on a consistent basis. And
Mm.
so I sometimes question whether DBT necessarily would work for me because I feel like I've gathered all the skills. It's just about the narrative in my head
Yep.
and how and when I can implement the skills, you know?
Totally. Yeah. And you seem to know your skills quite a bit, right? Like
Hmm.
just like by self learning, which is really cool. Yeah. And like the joy is that you don't have to do DBT, right? Like it's not for everyone. And I will admit, like that's actually one thing that I know that I'm not doing a great job of on this podcast is like I love DBT so much that like we talk about it often or like
Hmm.
every time basically. And I'm like, there's so many
Hmm.
other options out there that like I want to be able to showcase. Just because like sometimes it's not for everyone and that's all good. But I think like between super feelers and like you doing the mini series and the podcast and stuff, like you're definitely pretty well versed in the skills from what I can see, which is awesome.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
Not that I'm a counselor or have any authority to tell you that you're good at DBT, but it feels that way
Yeah.
when I talk to you.
Well, no, I really do appreciate that like reassurance, because I think that when you don't have a stable identity, right, or you just come from a BPD background, it's just so easy to
Mm-hmm.
question yourself and whether you're on the right path and,
Totally.
you know,
Yeah, like what do you fit
yeah.
in? Do you not? Do you oh shoot. What was I gonna say? Did they rescind your like bipolar 2 diagnosis when you got a BPD diagnosis, or did they say that they're like still co-occurring, or what was the deal there?
Yeah, no, so they took the bipolar 2 out of my chart. That's no longer in my
Okay.
chart. It hasn't been since like I've gotten the BPD diagnosis.
Yeah, I ask because I there's a lot of people who have either kind of have both or they've had one and then they've changed it. And somebody the other day actually reached out and said like about super feelers, like the super feelers club. They said like I don't think this is the peer support group for me because I have bipolar 2 and BPD and like was looking for something that was specific to people who had both of those diagnoses together. And I was like, holy, that's really specific. So I tried to look for something and there wasn't anything that I could find. But I find the complexity between those two diagnoses is really interesting because I feel like so much of the time it's like a oops, we diagnosed you with this, but we meant this. But then there are people who identify with having both. And I'm always like, how does that? Yeah. Anyways, just like a kind of an area that I think needs more exploration and discussion.
I would agree, and I wish I could speak more on it because I love doing like psychoanalysis of things and I
Yeah.
love picking things apart, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, though I will say that I have like just within the past few months haven't been officially diagnosed with it yet, but I self-identify with being autistic as well.
Right. Yeah. Which seems to be pretty common. There's other super feelers who feel the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've thought about like trying to go get a diagnosis.
Hmm.
But I think right now, I think I just like want to figure out for myself, like just how it presents for me and just doing my own research. I actually just
Hmm.
read or listened to this audiobook called Divergent. To anyone out there listening,
Okay.
if you think that you are autistic, especially if you are a female identifying individual,
Hmm.
they really dive into what it looks like for people
Yeah,
who are
because it's so
AFAB.
much less diagnosed. Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, and I mean, even your ADHD diagnosis, because we talk in the impulsivity episode. So if you're listening to this, go back and listen to the BPD symptoms miniseries. Listen to the whole thing, but the impulsivity episode specifically, Shane talks a lot about the difference between impulsivity from the ADHD side of things and impulsivity from the BPD side of things, and it's really a fascinating listen. I was just editing it the other day and was like, I enjoyed the conversation more the second time, I think, because I was able to kind of like really focus on that really interesting dynamic between those two things. You explained it so
it's
well.
well, thank you. Yeah, it's so hard sometimes. I feel like when we sit down and do those podcasts, like there's so much that I want to say, but then you're also trying to digest and take in, to
Yeah,
have this conversation with people, right? Like, and I wish we could do them like two times around.
totally.
Like,
I mean,
just
hey,
like revisit the
there's always an
conversation.
opportunity. Yeah, we could do that in like, a couple of years, come back and do it again and see how it's changed for people. That could be really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe just to wrap up, what is your favorite thing about having borderline personality disorder?
What is my favorite thing about having borderline personality disorder? I think that, people with BPD, myself, I think it's like the experiencing the intense emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically when I experience the highs, like could you imagine being somebody who doesn't have BPD and do you know how excited I get over just like a cup of coffee in the morning?
Yeah, totally.
Like it makes it so much easier, I think, to appreciate. Like when I actually get myself to sit down and do it, it makes it easier to appreciate the small things.
Hmm.
And it makes it feel like they're such huge things, which I think would be really hard for somebody who doesn't have BPD. You get what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's obviously the shitty parts, but like, yeah, that excitement over coffee or feeling of like passion around this is what I want to do. I want to start like this queer community in my own space, or like I don't know, I get really excited when I see like magicians. Like it's so stupid, but like they like blow my mind. It's like
Not the
don't.
magicians.
I know it's so stupid. I just get so excited. I like die. Anyways, and so like, but things like that, you wouldn't. Normal people are sitting there and they're like, "Yeah, this is obviously like a trick," and I'm like, "Whoa, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen." Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I think that emotion piece is like so awesome, even if it sometimes so sucks.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
awesome.
definitely can suck. But, I think the more that I've done therapy work and the more stability that I've created for myself, like the hard times don't feel as hard anymore.
Hmm. And they
They're still
pass.
hard, but yeah,
That's the
the knowing that
difference.
they pass it's like a key that just unlocks everything.
Totally. I mean, I still have times where I'm like, this is never going to pass. But like, you do know they're going to eventually, deep down.
Hmm.
And that is, yeah, I love that. Like a key that unlocks it, because you're like, life doesn't have to be as horrifying as this exact moment is, because in 2 days, I'll feel fine again, which is a very good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice.
Awesome.
Good relief.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Shane, thank you so much. I just like absolutely adore you. And I'm so happy that you're on the symptom series and that you came on to like share a little bit more context about your life, because I think that's always helpful for people to have too. So thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. I've had a
Awesome.
blast.
Yay. Thank you so much for listening to the Superfeeler podcast. This episode was recorded on the traditional and unceded territory of the Matsqui and Sumas First Nations. If you'd like to learn more about the Superfeeler podcast, share your story, or participate in the Superfeelers Club, which is our peer support group, it's totally free, virtual, and open to anyone who experiences intense emotions or has borderline personality disorder, please check out the link in our show notes or go to laurieedmondson.com.
If you would like to support the show, we would very much appreciate it. There's an option to do monthly small donations at whatever denomination you'd like, and you get bonus content, extra resources, and extra connection to me throughout. That can be found on patreon.com/superfeeler, or again in the notes below. Thanks again, and have a great day.